Art of Dying Well, Part 1, Facing Our Death. That's what we're going to be talking about today. I was going to do caring for those who are dying today, and I changed my mind. We're going to do that next week, and then the week after that we'll be like really preparing for our, and it kind of maybe getting practical about it, like what preparations have you made? Do you have a will? Do you have funeral plans? Have you talked about your estate? All of those things. So, but today we're going to talk about facing our own death, which is something that I think is not taught much anymore and used to be a regular part of Christian spirituality. And there's a variety of reasons why it's neglected. And I don't think it has anything to do with our theology as much as our enculturation. We've been awashed in a culture that denies death, and the church, as it often does, just follows right along with culture rather than leading the way. We just sort of follow. But we have this great legacy and great heritage in our history of being able to talk about these things and I think teach them in meaningful and powerful ways. So as we open, I thought I would pull out some prayers from the Carmina Gadelica, which is this ancient book of Celtic prayers that Alexander Carmichael collected before they were lost, because like so many oral histories and traditions, when the empires of the world come in, the first thing the empires do is squash local expression, local tradition, local culture. And so many of these prayers that had been chanted and prayed and sung for centuries and centuries in Scotland and Ireland had never been written down. And so in the 1800s, like kind of at the last possible second, many of them were written down. And so there's a couple of these. There's a lot of prayers for all kinds of things. Charms, incantations, and then there's many about death. So I wanted to open by reading this death prayer from the Carmina Gadelica. O God, give me thy wisdom. O God, give me thy mercy. O God, give me thy fullness, and of thy guidance in face of every strait. O God, give me thy holiness. O God, give me thy shielding. O God, give me of thy surrounding, and of thy peace in the knot of my death. O give me of thy understanding, and of thy peace at the hour of my death. I am going home with thee, to thy home, to thy home. I am going home with thee to thy home of winter. I am going home with thee to thy home, to thy home. I am going home with thee to thy home of autumn, of spring, and of summer. I am going home with thee, thou child of my love, to thine eternal bed, to thy perpetual sleep. I am going home with thee, thou child of my love, to thy dear Son of blessings, to the Father of grace. There's many others. I'll probably share more here in the next couple weeks as we walk through this journey of learning to die well. But before we jump in, I wanted just to ask, what is it about death that makes us so uncomfortable that we don't talk about it, we don't think about it? Parents often have a difficult time talking about death with their children, and when it's brought up, the children are often the ones who say, no, I don't want to talk about that.
Well, apparently there's some other people that don't want to talk about it too.
There are many of us. What is it about death that makes us so uncomfortable?
Is that a rhetorical question?
Yeah, it's a real question. It's a real question.
Fear of pain and fear of sadness. Like really, really hard pain and really, really deep sadness.
Yeah.
Right. Coming off of the death of both of my parents, I would say that was where my greatest discomfort lay.
Yeah.
And my mother did share that fear of pain at the end was a deep
Yes.
one, big one for her.
For her, of course, yes, and we don't want to see our loved ones in pain.
Fear of loss, of losing. Yeah, fear of loss, right. our lives will be different after someone dies.
Yes.
Look at the faces, that, we can dig really deep into this, yeah.
Yeah, it's, I think, it's the aging process. I mean, it's hard to deny at some point in our life. And so,
Well, we are really, we've been age denial and death denial for my entire life, but we are going to whole new, it's like, we just can't stop denying it. And keep going, I'm sorry, it's.
no, that's okay, because a couple of people heard me say this, but it's like, there are some people that I feel free to talk about that with, that they're open to it. And I was with one of them last week, and we were talking about just kind of realizing, that we're, I mean, at some point you're in the aging process, but at some point you're maybe aged. And so, and we said, then what? And we're both kind of like, we had some words for that. So we said, well, we can't end this fun afternoon talking about kind of on this level, okay? So as she got out of my car, it just spontaneously came out of my mouth, well, have fun aging. And we kind of looked at each other, and then we just burst out laughing.
Yeah, well, what if we could?
Okay, I'm gonna have fun aging this week. And I'll see
And what if we could? I love that, and I'm so glad that you greenlit this kind of thing you didn't even know that you were going to say, which I think is how often our greatest insights come to us when we are able to not inhibit and censor these deep truths that we often know deep inside, which is, what if aging can be fun?
Or just.
What if we can learn to enjoy it? And same with death, which isn't to say that death is always fun. It's not. Any of you have been through it and seen it. It can be, right? And it's okay to be able to recognize that too. That death can be full of laughter, it can be beautiful, it can be inspiring, and of course it can be really difficult too, and scary, and people, we often in the movies, I mean, how many movies have ever depicted someone dying in anything resembling a realistic manner? I mean, I don't know that I've ever seen one, right? Because it's always one last thing. That's not how people die. maybe when they're, with a wound or something, right? Which that would often happens in the movie. Someone's been shot or whatever. But when an old person is dying, I've never seen someone, I love you, my dear, and then they're gone. Like, that's not how it goes, right? It's this long, drawn-out process that doesn't lend itself to film, which is why we don't do it, right? We want moments, and instead it can be long and slow and scary and uncomfortable.
Well, and they can keep you alive too, because how they'll put you on life support, and there are movies about that, and there are things that really happen. People have to actually have somebody that will say, don't do this.
Yes, and that there's no doubt that life support can hinder the natural process of dying, but I've also been present with folks who have all of the, do not resuscitate, and people who have not, I always grew up being told these kind of things that we think that we know that aren't true, like, oh, you can live a month without eating food, but 48 hours and no water and you'll die. It's not true. You can live weeks without water. Weeks. And I've seen it with members of this church who have died, and it's like, oh, she hasn't had anything to drink for almost 2 weeks now. I thought that would mean you automatically die. No. So sometimes it can go very, very long, and that's uncomfortable, right? It can be scary and difficult, especially when it's the person that we love so much.
Yeah, just in last October, there are no super specific parameters.
Yes.
But there are some.
There's guiding. There are things that are often true, but like with what do we say with people on the spectrum? If you met one person on the spectrum, you've met one person on the spectrum, and there's something like that with death, right? That if you've seen one person die, you've seen one person die.
It's like a list of things that happen, and once you hit enough of the things on the list, you will die, but they're not the exact same things for everybody, and they're not in the exact same order or to the I just think we all want to know We
Yeah.
just wanna be like braced for this, I wanted to be braced for this thing, for this moment. My father's death in March looked different than my mother's death in
Yeah.
October. For Dad, it was a breathing thing, he was struggling to get breath, he couldn't get breath. For Mom, just all the energy. I mean, you saw her near the end, but not at the very end, she's still in her chair, I think, when
Yeah.
you came. So, yeah, but like with autism, it's a list of characteristics and everyone on the spectrum has some of them to some degree, I think.
Yeah, and I obviously I know nothing about medicine, so those of you who do, please jump in and correct. But one of the things that I think we are conditioned in all forms of our life to think of is seeing the world in binaries, right? And the one that people cite all the time, you're either pregnant or you're not. I think that's actually not scientifically, it's not right. It's not as simple as on and off switch. And the same thing with death. You're either alive or you're dead. That's not really true in all kinds of ways, right? Death is in our body all the time. Cells are dying constantly. We are surrounded by death throughout our entire life, whether we're aware of it or not. And then we expect it to be this moment, this person's gone or they're not. It's like, it's not actually quite that simple. It's not a binary, it's a process. And we don't often like processes, right? We like things to be neat and simple and clean, and they aren't.
Linda and I have run into an issue where there are people that just deny it's ever gonna happen.
Yes.
They don't make a will.
Yeah.
I mean, they're suddenly in the hospital, they have no will, they have no power of attorney, they have no, do not resist, none of that, absolutely nothing. It means that they must never have thought they were gonna die.
Or no one taught them, no church, no anybody taught them that one thing that people I think don't realize is that in not preparing, what you are doing is creating all kinds of stress, difficulty, pain, and suffering for the people who love you most. That's not your intention, but that will be the result. But by not doing any of those things, you are laying a burden on those who will have to make all of those decisions for you or want to make decisions for you that they know would be in your best interest, but because you didn't put it on paper, you can't enact them.
It's a big one.
It is a big one, and it's a hard thing to say because I know how scary this can be for everybody, and to frame these things as sinful isn't always helpful. But I want to at least introduce the notion that by being unwilling to confront our own mortality, there is a selfishness in that
Yes.
that harms the people we love most because we're too afraid to do the work. And I'm not diminishing the fear or saying you have nothing to be afraid of. But I think out of love for the people that are going to hopefully be left behind when we go, we should do this work as a gift to them.
Well,
A gift to them and a gift to
You're going
ourselves.
to provide something like that.
Yeah.
A list or something in this class.
Yeah, we'll get there on week 3. We'll
Okay,
get there on
because
week 3.
I drowned several
Yeah.
years ago. Well, I think it was right after 20 years.
But that should be available to everybody.
It is.
Sure.
Yes,
It is.
yeah.
I got it in something for older adults, whatever.
Yeah.
And it took me months to get all of that together. Of course, then
Well, if you've got those things, you can share them with me, and I can, because I have some ideas for 2 weeks from now. But
I do know someone in this congregation, because we did something similar to this years ago.
Okay.
And honestly, well, I won't go into detail, but my husband died very unexpectedly, okay? And I can't tell you how grateful I was to have that list.
Yeah.
And to have all of those things in 2 different places.
Yeah.
The original in a safety deposit box and a copy at home.
that's a gift that he left for you.
Now, what are you specifically referring to? Not the
well,
will? Or-
No, everything, like all the military stuff that.
Oh, okay,
birth
like their-
certificates and-
yeah,
I mean,
their
just
obituary,
everything.
yeah.
But
There's a
now,
lot.
a lot of it's digital, so you wouldn't store it in the same way,
Okay.
but.
Well, I appreciate already where we're going, and I want this. I want our collective wisdom to help each other because, right, I've seen some things, but that's all I've seen, and you've seen some things, and that's all you've seen. And the truth is, none of us have seen the other side of death.
Well, on the other.
So, and that's what I think is so scary for many of us is that despite what the scriptures may say, or our traditions, or our intuitions, we haven't been on the other side. And so we are left with this great unknown, and human beings tend to not like things that we don't know, right? We want to know. We want to have some form of control. And denial is one form of control that we have, or we think we have. But if I can just keep it out of sight, out of mind, I don't have to deal with it. Well, you will have to deal with it, and so will all the people you love eventually. This has been a super helpful book for me over the years. Henry Nouwen's Our Greatest Gift. Very tiny, typical Henry Nouwen book if you read anything by him. I think the anniversary of his death was this week, actually.
What's the title of that?
It's called Our Greatest Gift, a meditation on dying and caring. Very short, lovely, helpful book that I read and have read many times over and has been very useful to me, and I keep returning to it. But I also, like any good book, it becomes real. There's no substituting reading about something for going through it. Right? So I read and learned a lot of this stuff long before I was exposed to the death process. And you think you know these things, and you go back to them, you're like, oh, now I right? And so there's so much that we can't learn except by going through it, and that's why we also need each other's stories. Because I do think stories can be profoundly helpful in how we face death. I remember when I was a little boy, my father recounting his Uncle Nick dying, and I never met Uncle Nick. But he was known to be of my father's uncles, the kindest, perhaps the kindest of the Esler brothers, or certainly one of them. One of the ones who didn't go into ministry, but maybe should have, based on gifting. When Nick died, my dad told me the story about how he's on his deathbed and his children are there. My Uncle Danny is there. And Uncle Nick is lying on his deathbed and he has his glasses on. And Uncle Danny tries to take his glasses off. And he says, no, leave my glasses on. Why, Dad? I'm just trying to make you comfortable. Because I want to see Jesus clearly. Now, I was never there. I never met my Uncle Nick. But that story has shaped my entire life as it relates to death. It instilled something in me at a very young age that what if this isn't the worst thing in the world? What if it can actually be a beautiful transition from one life to the next? And that's in part what this book that Henry Nouwen has written to us is about. This is in the preface. Is death such an absolute end of all our thoughts and actions that we simply cannot face it? Or is it possible to befriend our dying gradually and live open to it, trusting that we have nothing to fear? Is it possible to prepare for our death with the same attentiveness that our parents had in preparing for our birth? Can we wait for our death as a friend who wants to welcome us home? I think we can, but it doesn't happen on its own. It is something like, and I love the analogy of parents preparing for their child. All the work that goes into that, all the preparation and the what to expect when you're expecting, the registries and all this, the nesting, all these things that families do to prepare for a child. What if we anticipated our death with a similar amount of care? So how do you envision a good death? What does that look like? What would it include? What does it not include? Maybe this comes just from your own imagination of what you'd like it to be like, or one that you've seen. And it could come from one that I've seen and don't want it to go this way. And this one wasn't good. And that can be scary to share. So I don't want, obviously, everything that's shared we treat with great respect and understanding that, like I said, this is a weighty and difficult topic. So Patty, go ahead.
My mom has a friend who's 93, and they go to the friends group, goes to dinner every Tuesday night. They were at the restaurant, done with dinner, she stands up and she dies. Right there, boom, on the ground. And I was like, that's great. My mom's like, what? I was like, that's how I want to go. Just have dinner with friends, right? And then die. My mom didn't think so at all.
Yes.
Really?
Yeah. And that's how, yeah.
Well, what are the things that attract you to that? That what about that seems like, oh, that's it?
No pain.
Yeah.
No pain.
It is the binary, right? It just happens.
Right, and it does, and so rarely happens like that,
It
right?
does, yeah.
It doesn't happen like that. And in contrast, I have a friend, Sally Francis. Her mother was a longtime member of this congregation. Sally's 70, so if her mother were alive, but anyway, Sally Francis is a member of Broad Street, and before Christmas she was like, I don't know, confused, and they took her to the ER, She has this huge brain tumor. They can't do anything about it. She went straight to hospice. So like one day you're in your kitchen sort of dizzy, and the next day you're in just, and she says, you know, there's nothing that can be done, so I'm not gonna go that route.
Yeah.
She had cancer 10 years earlier. This isn't the same cancer, but she had thought this through. I'm not gonna do that again. So anyway, she thinks so she's dying, but she wants, I'm like, Sally, how are you? She's like, terrible. I wanna die, and today is not soon enough.
Yeah.
She says, look at that exit sign. It's teasing me, because I wanna go, and why can't I be in Oregon or Vermont or wherever they can assist you? Anyway, it's been a month now.
Yeah.
And she's wants to go so badly and is in pain and uncomfortable and
Yeah.
I don't want to do that.
Yes. So seeing that, you look at the alternative of just, I'm here and I'm gone, especially in a setting where I'm surrounded by family and friends. What a love, in that regard, what a lovely thing. Now, obviously traumatic for your family and friends who are not prepared for this,
Right.
but is for the person going through it, not bad.
Right.
Not bad.
Not bad.
Now, your mom said she didn't like that. So what would be the negatives to it going that way?
She wants her children, my mom, like
Yeah.
like I want everyone around me.
Yes.
And I'm like, oh no, I'm gonna be one of those people who waits till people leave the hospital room and then I'm gonna stop. Get out of here.
Which is common, right? You've heard, and I'm sure many of you have heard those types of stories. And again, there's no formula, right? And so you can't count on anything to
Right.
apply in every situation. But it is true that a somewhat regular experience is one of two things. You're waiting for some person to arrive, right? The child who's in Oregon and flying here, and then the person dies quite soon after that person arrives. That's one common refrain. The other is everybody's around, they've been watching, and they finally, I gotta go home and take a shower. You go home and take a shower, and mom dies. But both of these happen all the time.
I went home, took a nap, and my mom died, but
Yes.
my brother was there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Two things. Get hospice. They will make sure you do not have pain. Morphine is a marvelous thing
It is.
because it not only knocks out the pain, it also decreases anxiety. So,
And slows your breathing.
you know, if you have a monstrous brain tumor and you know you're gonna go,
Right.
Sure.
there's a really high chance I would choose morphine. And weirdly, I've seen two people die, my brother and my dad. And while it was very sad, seeing it happen, I felt also this very deep peace
Yes.
along with it. So I would not have missed that for anything. So I'll just
Thank you for
share
sharing that. And I think I appreciate that. And I think one, we need to be careful. It's a beautiful, I'm so glad that's been your experience. It isn't everybody's experience. And I need to be mindful of that because I jump into the deaths I've been exposed to more often than not have been beautiful, peaceful, even when they're utterly heartbreaking, just devastating babies, that kind, like just the wrong stage of life. It still feels as though I'm on holy ground, right?
That's it. And I'm not gonna, I can't quite call it beautiful yet, but I can speak to the
Yes,
and that's a gut,
they aren't all beautiful for
you
sure.
know, but in retrospect,
Yeah.
maybe I will feel that way about it. But both my brother and my mother had involved hospice before they got super critical. And then one of the neat things, in addition to the morphine, is the emotional preparation of their family.
Yes.
Because you're processing. So it's not shocking.
Yeah.
You know, there's not that piece to it, you know. So I just, see
I
me
think
about
it's-
hospice.
Yeah, hospice is great, absolutely. I think along with that, it's important to, and I've not seen one of these deaths, but I know they happen, is when someone is resisting to the absolute end, and on all sides, the person dying, as well as those who love that person. Don't go, mom, and they're just screaming and crying, like, it's just pretty traumatic. Now, I think that's part of why we want to do this. None of us get to guarantee how we're gonna go or how our loved ones respond when we do go. But by preparing ourselves and our loved ones, we make that ultra traumatic experience far less likely, right? by preparing ourselves and learning to accept this is coming for me, whether I like it or not. I'd better do some work to prepare for it and prepare my loved ones as well. It can help keep that kind of thing that I think no one wants to have happen by doing the work ahead of time. I love this quote from Melanie. Old men and old women must prepare for death. But how do we prepare ourselves well? For me, the first task is to become a child again, to reclaim my childhood. This might seem to be opposite to our natural desire to maintain maximum independence. Nevertheless, becoming a child, entering a second childhood, is essential to dying a good death. The younger we are, the more people we need so that we may live. The older we become, the more people we again need to live. Life is lived from dependence to dependence. That's the mystery that God has revealed to us through Jesus, whose life was a journey from his manger to the cross. Born in complete dependence on those who surround him, Jesus died as the passive victim of other people's actions and decisions. This perspective has changed a lot of how I see, experience, prepare for my own death, and suggest that you do the same. We live in an exceedingly independent culture where we think that's the goal. The goal in life is to go from dependence to independence, but it is a lie. And it's idolatry. None of us, and no matter who we are truly independent. That's what I mean by a lie. No one is truly independent. We all are, whether we recognize it or not, from the first breath to our last, interdependent the whole way along. There's no getting around that. In the middle section of our life, we have the honor and privilege of being more oriented towards caring for others than receiving care. That's how it's supposed to go. We enter the world as needing to receive care, otherwise we die. We leave this world on the care of other people as we die. In between, we get to be the caregivers. But when the process is moving the way that it should, we need to prepare ourselves to become dependent again. And that can be very, very difficult for anybody, and I want to suggest especially for Americans, whose rugged individualism and Marlboro Man independence has been so baked into our psyche that it's hard for us to even imagine that learning to become childlike again is God's will for us.
Joe?
Yes?
Do you remember, I don't have the details, but Henry Nouwen, where he chose to spend his last.
Yes.
It was a community of people who were dependent on others.
Yes.
Who had needs, and that's where he chose to spend his last.
That's right. Henry had been a professor of spirituality at Notre Dame, at Yale, and at Harvard. Might have heard of them. And he left Harvard, the highest of all the positions that he had, to go to L'Arche, which is a community of people with developmental disabilities living with people without developmental disabilities. And Henry spent the last, I forget, maybe 8-10 years of his life bathing a man named Adam who could not speak. Adam was nonverbal. And it was such a gift that Henry, in his own words, a gift that he gave himself to be with people who did not know that he was the great Henry Nouwen. Adam, the person he cared for, didn't care that he was some published author and sought after speaker. That made no difference to Adam. The only thing Adam cared about is, can you help me wash this morning? Can you be nice to me while I'm losing my temper? That's it. And that became this great gift. So as he talked about it in those latter years, people always said these things about, oh, now, Henry, you've become this great saint, right? Because you've followed Christ into this path. And Henry would just laugh, going, you have missed my call entirely. God told me, Henry, go live with these people, and they're going to heal you. And that's what's happening. I'm being healed. Like, oh. He got it, right? He got it. So how can our resistance to dependency be a form of sin? It's a provocative question by design, and one that I hope makes some of you uncomfortable.
Well, I think you changed the word yourself to be selfish.
Yeah.
And it's unwilling to share.
Yeah.
My dad was definitely a resistor of dependence. And what that looked like was
Yeah.
yelling
Yes.
and sometimes falling and, basically kind of scaring the heck out of us
Yeah.
in a variety of ways and hurting everyone's feelings. And, we definitely had to do that trick of, yes, he's fiercely independent. That's why he made it to 99 years old. But it was painful for
Yes.
the people around him. And if only he had accepted a little more help, a little more graciously, I think it would have been less painful for the people around him.
Yes.
So one way is, I think it hurts people
Yes.
in a variety of ways. It hurts your family. Even if that's would be the furthest from your intentions, it does tend to roll out like that.
It does, and I've seen it many times as well, where it's not always, but it is often men. Sorry, ladies, it's often men who resist to the end being dependent upon anyone. And that, of course, has to do with the cultural scripts that we've been given about what it means to be a man. And we didn't choose these scripts, but they've been given to us. And a true man is not in need of anyone. And again, that's a very harmful narrative. And you see the harm in moments like this. I've seen it with others too, where a man's resistance to get another level of care, whatever that might be. I'm now going into a nursing home. I'm now going into assisted living. No, I'm going to stay in independent living. And I'll make my children care for me.
Good luck.
And there have been folks and I never had the courage to say this, and it wouldn't have gone well if I did, but I wanted to shake them and say, you're killing your children. You're being a selfish, sinful man by being unwilling to receive care from other people except for your children, and you are literally killing them. That's what I mean by it can be a form of sin. Our unwillingness
making them
to-
sad and scaring them.
And can have caregivers. Stress is profound, as you all know. So I mean killing them literally, not just emotionally. It can have profound negative effects on your loved one's physical health and emotional health by resisting the natural human development of going from dependence to dependence. There's nothing shameful about it. It's the way God intended it. If Jesus did it and was brave enough to do it, well, I can't wait. This quote from John on page 2 has been so meaningful to me since my mom came down with Alzheimer's. This is Jesus' words to Peter at the end of John's Gospel. Very truly I tell you, when you were younger, you used to fasten your belt to go where you wished. But when you grow old, you will stretch out your hands, and someone else will fasten a belt around you, and take you where you do not wish to go. He said this to indicate the kind of death by which you would glorify God. And after this, he said to him, "Follow me." I firmly believe that verse was recorded to us not simply so we go, oh, Peter died in a crucifixion the way Jesus did. And that's a neat historical fact for us to know and have under our belt. The point of the verse is that this is going to happen to all of us if we live long enough. People are going to take you where you don't want to go. And that was my mom's journey with Alzheimer's. She did not want Alzheimer's. I don't think anybody does who gets it. But take a look around our world, take a look around this church. It's an exaggeration to feel like we have a new person every week, but every couple months, I look at someone else and go, it's starting. It's happening. You don't have to like it. You don't have to say, isn't it great that I'm starting to suffer with memory loss? No. But what if we learned to expect that we're going to move from dependency to dependency, and to not resist it with all that we have, but come to embrace reality as it is. I wanted to make sure I brought this up. The welcoming prayer. So I wrote it down. The welcoming prayer. The welcoming prayer is a form of contemplative prayer. If any of you practice centering prayer, we got a group here on Thursdays that does this. The same monk, Father Keating, who invented, popularized centering prayer, helped develop the welcoming prayer. And the welcoming prayer is a simple contemplative practice where we learn to embrace those negative emotions that we feel that we would rather not experience. So a few years ago, my beloved son had a real hard time with needles, as a lot of young people do. Very hard time with needles. And in so many ways, he was then a very brave young man, but this was something that really was profoundly anxiety producing for him. And when COVID came around, guess what? We started, and those vaccines, you're going to need more needles now, buddy. So we worked on this together, the welcoming prayer. What are you afraid of with the shot? I'm afraid of the pain. Sure, it hurts. It doesn't feel good. What if you learn to pray, welcome pain? I'm glad you're here. Because the pain that I'm experiencing is going to help my body fight a virus that I don't want to receive and keep me safe from it. So I don't have to like the pain, I can welcome it because it's trying to keep me safe. On all ends, it's my body saying, we don't want things inside of our body that don't belong here, right? It's the body's natural response to a needle being stuck inside of you. And then it's also the reason we're doing it, to keep us safe from this virus as well. And incredibly, it worked.
So you're saying he was just afraid to get the shot, or?
Yes. Afraid of the needle, because and every needle
Okay.
has lots of, and there's plenty of adults who pass out, and I'm not suggesting this is going to work with every phobia that you have. I'm telling a story where it happened with one person's, right? So it's one, and not all phobias are equal or alike. None of that. This is not the be-all, end-all solution for everything that we don't like in life. But if we can learn to have a practice of, by prayer, welcoming the very things that we are most afraid of and don't want in our life, we might discover that they're here actually as gifts. Whatever they are. The anger that you have towards your boss, your pastor, whatever, whatever. And we in prayer learn to go, welcome anger. I'm so glad you're here. I'm so glad you're here. Thank you for visiting me. Because I trust that you're here for a reason. I don't have to know what that reason is, but I'm going to welcome you as a guest in my home. The home of my life, the home of my body, the home of my heart and spirituality. And I'll welcome you here. I think if we can learn practices like this at a young age for little things like needles and other things, in time we can learn it for the big things as well. That we can learn to say, welcome death. I'm so glad you're here. We don't want to live forever. We really don't.
I mean, that's a neat thing that Christianity brings to the whole coping skills of common phobias.
Yeah.
You know, because even having taught those kinds of things for years, I can't really think of anything that works quite exactly like that.
Yeah.
So, and it's important, I think, to have a huge bag of techniques for coping with things like that. So,
Spiritual technologies, I've heard them described. I like that.
well,
Yeah.
you know,
Little tools.
a list of whatever you want to call them that help us with the really hard places in life. My thing was, anger is good. What? Anger is good because it lets you know something is wrong and
That's
needs
right.
to change.
Yep.
So it's not the end of the world. But fear, I mean, anger could be argued to be a secondary emotion that is really somewhere under the heading of fear.
Mhm.
So if you look at fear, it gets almost more to the heart of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I love that. I think that's awesome. I'm like you, I don't think it's going to work with everything.
No, and it may not work for him forever, but it was really cool to see it.
And even a great starting
Yeah.
place, maybe.
It helped, I think, that the COVID needles are like the easiest needles I've ever had in my life. That did help, but good. Like, hey, great, right? Because it
Just
won't be
made
the
me
last
think.
one.
When I was growing up, the dentist I went to did not believe in anesthetic.
Jeez.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my God. I have,
Yeah.
I grew up with such a fear of dentists.
Yeah, a lot of people do.
Yeah, when I moved to Columbus, the first dentist I saw, I had to explain this to him. I mean, he had to work me through it. But now it's no big deal at all to go to the dentist. But I used to fill teeth, do all that stuff with no anesthetic. That is excruciating.
Yeah, it
I
is.
feel like
And
I'm teaching my dentist things because I haven't had a lot of dental work, but I've had to have a little bit recently, and I really am scared of the pain of those needles. And so like I'm like, I want all the anesthetic you can give me. Tell me everything you're doing.
Yeah.
Okay, I have 3 coping skills that I know I'm gonna use, and it's just it's so hard.
Yeah.
We need to know many ways.
And the other thing was needles back in the day. They used to be reusable.
And they're so big, yeah.
And those were terrible.
Sure.
I mean, talk about pain when you got a shot.
So I'm
And so I had
grateful
that
for
problem
the
for a long time, but it's nothing now. I get shots all the time and you can't even feel it. So
That welcoming prayer.
a lot of it has to
Put
do
that on a
with your
plaque
age
on the
or
wall
anything.
in a couple of places in
I
my
mean,
house.
And I think we can do it with all kinds of things in our lives.
Yeah.
Right? So last year I had my had the joy of experiencing my first colonoscopy. And I mean it as an absolute joy. Because I went in with exactly this in mind. What a gift that I have insurance, that I have access to medicine and doctors and people who can look inside my body to help me determine whether or not I have colon cancer. Because I've seen people die of colon cancer, I'd rather not, if I can, right? And so that alone is a gift. And then going into the experience, I'm like, I'm usually the person at the bedside caring for other people. That's my job. So now I get to be the one in the bed. What a gift. All these people who are here to take care of me. And it got kind of mystical and spiritual and beautiful where as they're putting in my needle, I could smell the plastic of the IV, right? Brand new plastic. I started to think, man, what is this plastic made of? It's quite literally made of dead dinosaurs from millions of years ago, who have been, and it's been waiting for this moment to be used for this one-time purpose, so that I could have this medical procedure done. And all of it just became this incredible gift, where I was grateful for every moment of it, waking up. What could be easier? There's nothing like, it's like, oh, I didn't even know that I was asleep, and now I'm awake, and it's done. Thank you, God. Welcome. Right? And so I think there are things that we can do all along the way in our life. If we look at those things that that makes me uncomfortable. That's okay. We all get uncomfortable, whether it's death or pain or suffering or boredom, whatever it is, and learning to embrace these things and welcome them. By learning to embrace vulnerability and weakness now, we can prepare for the big test that's coming, right? These are the midterms. Every one of these things in our life, these are the midterms that we have to face. The final exam's coming. That final exam is death. You're going to do a lot better on that test if you embrace the midterms all along the way. Next week, we will talk specifically about being present for other people while they are suffering and or dying, how we do that well, things to do, things not to do, and I'll also welcome to speak to this week your stories, because I'm guessing every single one of you have stories about, yeah, when this person said this, that was the worst thing they could have ever said. Great, let's use that as an example, right? We can draw on our collective wisdom about what to say and what not to say, what to do and what not to do. And then again, that third week, it's going to be more specifically about how to prepare in a very specific way for our deaths. I did find this website this week, The Art of Dying Well. It's a Catholic website out of England, and it's really excellent. So it's all Catholic perspective, but great stuff from beginning to end. Infused with hospice doctors, nurses, and others. So this one, I'll read one more of these from the Carnegie Gaelica, and we'll be done for today. This one's called Joyous Death. Give us, O God, the needs of the body. Give us, O God, the needs of the soul. Give us, O God, the healing balsam of the body. Give us, O God, the healing balsam of the soul. Give us, O God, the joy of repentance. Give us, O God, the joy of forgiveness. Wash thou from us the lees of corruption. Cleanse thou from us the stain of uncleanness. O great God, who art on the throne, give to us the true repentance. Give to us the forgiveness of sin. Give to us, O God, strong love and that beautiful crown of the King. Give us, O God, the home of thy salvation within thy beauteous gates of thy kingdom. May Michael, bright warrior of the angels, be keeping the evil enemies down. May Jesus Christ, the Son of David, be giving us hospitality and the brightness of peace. Amen.